Hi, welcome to BuffZone.com. My name is Kyle Ringo. I'm the CU beat writer for the Daily Camera newspaper. With me, as always, is veteran Daily Camera sports columnist Neill Woelk. We're here today to talk about the CU basketball team.
Kyle, I think 2,000 people might have actually figured out that basketball season has started. Not many other people have, judging from the crowds they've had at the Coors Event Center so far this year. But basketball season has started. The women's team is playing relatively well. The men's team is not playing relatively well. That about sums it up right there, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, if you call a 24-point loss to USC playing relatively well, I guess the women are playing relatively well.
They at least have a winning record, Kyle.
It was a 24-point loss.
They at least have a winning record, and that's something that the men can't claim, having already lost at home to Wyoming and came very close to losing to powerhouse Northern Colorado, coached by former Kansas Jayhawk and Greeley Central star Tad Boyle.
Yeah, that was kind of an eye-opening experience. The Buffs needed a tip-in at the buzzer from Jermeel Jackson-Wilson to beat the Bears in the Coors Event Center. And, a few years ago when David Harrison, Michelle Mirandis, Blair Wilson were here, they probably beat that team by, 30, 40 points. I don't know that you can chalk it all up to inexperience and youth and having 8 freshmen on the team. I mean, you still have Richard Roby, who's
you still have one of the premier players in the Big 12 conference.
Yeah, but
you know what? He was voted on the Big 12 all-conference team.
Is Richard Roby playing like an NBA player? Is he even playing like a first-team all-conference guy right now?
Right now, he's not playing.
His jump shot is in hiding.
It's in disarray. It is definitely. I don't think he's found his jump shot. It's frozen up out there in the ice somewhere. But the whole team is not playing well, and that's no excuse having that many freshmen. When you have a guy like Richard Roby, you have a couple of Dominique Coleman, you have Marcus King Stockton, you have some upperclassmen that should be able to provide a little bit of experience for this team, a little bit of guidance, and a little bit of leadership. You're looking at a coach who's a lame duck, and already we're hearing stories. The players aren't getting along with the head coach. There's already some rifts dividing, and this is from a coach who quit on his team at the beginning of the season, announced that he wasn't going to be back, announced that he wasn't even going to try to earn a contract extension, and you're seeing the results of it. They're not playing well. They lose out on the road to North Carolina, Wilmington. They lose at home to Wyoming, and it's not going to get any better before this season is over.
That Wyoming team's not a bad Wyoming team. I mean, they got a pretty good group of guards there.
They have 2 great guards.
Right.
They have 2 great guards.
It's not a big surprise to me that they lost to Wyoming. The UNC Wilmington loss was, in my mind, kind of a bad loss. That team played in the NCAA tournament last year, but that's not the same team. I mean, it has a different coach, and it has like 6 members of that team, and I think 2 of them played more than 10 minutes a game last year. So it's not the same team. CU should have been able to win that game. They faded down the stretch when Richard Roby cramped up. And then, they got games coming up here. They got the next 6 games at home. They got CSU coming up at the end of the week here. They need to get some wins in this stretch of the season because once you get to Big 12 play, these freshmen are really going to have to grow up fast.
Well, Kyle, I think right now the big question about the Colorado basketball team is not what's going to happen this weekend or the next weekend or even when they get to the Big 12. The big question surrounding the Colorado men's basketball team is who is going to be the next coach. You had a great story over the weekend outlining who's serving on the search committee, and I think it's a great search committee. I love the fact that Tom McGrath's going to be involved. I like the fact that Seal Berry is going to be involved. Bud Peterson, I think it's a very good search committee. The question is, what kind of coach are they going to look for? We're not going to start looking for names as much as what kind of coach do they have to find to make Colorado basketball relevant again? Because right now, Colorado basketball is irrelevant. People do not even care about it enough to talk about it.
Yeah, I agree, although we're talking about it, which kind of...
Well, that's because we're getting paid millions of dollars to sit here in front of the cameras and talk about it.
Yeah, the thing with the search committee is search committees are kind of just an aesthetic thing. I mean, not to belittle or downgrade anybody's contributions or whatever. I'm sure Seal Berry's opinion is wanted and valid in discussions of who the next coach should be. Tom McGrath obviously is going to lead the search. He's the chairman of the committee, but it boils down to who Mike Bohn likes. I mean, Mike Bohn was hired here as the athletic director and given the power to make all the decisions over who coaches in his department and who doesn't coach. And it's basically going to come down to who Mike Bohn decides to hire. He's going to pick some brains.
Don't you think Don't you think that McGrath and Seal have a large role in this, simply with the fact that McGrath is a guy that has Jim Boeheim on his speed dial. McGrath is a guy that has Mike Krzyzewski on his speed dial. He hits one button, boom, he calls him up, hey, how you doing? Don't you think he's going to be the guy that's going to winnow out the field and pick 5 or 10 guys? And I do think Seal will have some input in this just because of her basketball knowledge. She knows the game as well as anybody up there. She was a great X's and O's basketball coach, and I think she will have some input. In fact, if they would have listened to Seal Berry in 1989, 1990, the Colorado basketball program would be incredibly different right now. Seal Berry in 1989, 1990 told them when they went ahead and hired Joe Harrington, she said, there's a coach at Wisconsin Green Bay, a little bitty place, and his name is Dick Bennett. And she said, go hire Dick Bennett, and he will come in here and he will make this program a winner. Well, they didn't, and instead Wisconsin hired Dick Bennett, and Dick Bennett created a Final Four program at Wisconsin, which was historically a bad basketball program. And that's the kind of knowledge that she can add to that search committee if they'll let her. And I think they will, because I think they all respect her. And so I think it's a good search committee. But what kind of coach, going back to the original question, what kind of coach do they have to have here at Colorado?
Well, they have to have somebody, in my mind, they have to have somebody young and energetic, they need the Dan Hawkins of basketball coaches. They need somebody young, energetic, somebody who has a proven track record of success. I don't think you get an assistant coach from a Division I program. I think you need a proven track record of success from a person who has been a Division I coach, or maybe has some NBA experience or something like that. And then, you need somebody who's going to be engaging, who's going to, do television and go out and engage the
you've got to have somebody that sells the program.
At parades, at state fairs, at county fairs, in the summertime, you can't have this guy disappear.
You've got to have somebody that can sell the program, somebody that's going to create some enthusiasm, and you better have somebody that can recruit. Right now, the guy that they have up there has done one of those things fairly well. Ricardo Patton has recruited fairly well over the years. He has brought in some good players. The problem is those good players came here and they never developed. And that's what you're going to see again this year, is you're going to see some very good young players who are going to grow stagnant under the direction of Ricardo Patton. And they need to find somebody who will come in here, convince those young players to stay. The guys that are here, that guy has to come in here and convince those kids to stay. And then they've got to find somebody who can go out and recruit more players like that. And then, like you said, get out in the public, get people to buy tickets, get people excited, get people to start talking about Colorado basketball. Because right now in the college basketball season, it's just starting. Everybody in the nation is playing, and nobody's talking. And even in this area, there are only a handful of people who care about Colorado basketball.
That goes back to what I was saying about the athletic director, Neill. Right now, all of that is incumbent on the athletic director to start getting the pieces in place so that coach can come in and has some legitimate sales points to recruits and, to his assistant coaches who, it's not just all about the one coach. You need to get some decent assistants in here. You need to get some recruits in here. And you need to have something to sell to these people. And, you got to have the fans interested. And I think Mike Bohn right now has a huge job on his hands in terms of getting these players to commit to stay into the program and hiring the right guy to coach these guys in the future.
This is a huge hire for Mike Bohn, and I don't know if people are aware of that, but they have screwed up Colorado basketball for the last 30 years. Okay, the administration, whoever the athletic director was, from Bill Murrell to Dick Tharp, they have screwed up Colorado basketball for 30 years. This is their last chance to get it right. They have a chance to get a good coach in here, and they better not screw this one up.
I agree.
Oh, my God. Can we write that down? Kyle Ringo agrees with me. All right. Well, keep on tuning in to BuffZone.com. We'll keep you updated on the basketball search. And Kyle Ringo will continue to impress you with his sartorial splendor.